David, so much to get to today. Where would you like to start? Did you happen to hear the Christine Fréchette interview?
I did.
And what did we think?
Well, I think she is on brand in terms of what she's trying to establish as a political figure going into an election campaign. If you go back to Friday, when she did her press conference in Quebec City, when she ended the session, she outright said she wanted to change the tone overall. It's not just talking about the English-speaking community. She was different than François Legault. She doesn't want to be divisive. She wants to find common ground. And I think this was just another extension of what she's trying to establish. Quebecers right now don't want people who are divisive, don't want people who are looking for fights. They want solutions, and that's what she's trying to contrast with Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon, which is the complete opposite, and Charles Milliard, who is nowhere right now on the board in terms of what his brand and what he stands for. But in terms of looking for concrete results, this interview, I mean, there's nothing new. I mean, there's still, when she's talking about, decline of France between 2016 and 2021, okay. What has this government done, which you supported, Madam Premier, when you were minister, since then, since 2022, that has, affected that decline in one way or another? Where's your data? What are your metrics? How does going after a restaurant like Nosh change that perceived decline between 2016 and 21? How does going after Go Habs Go change anything like that? How does going after the Burgundy Lion change that? How does going after Concordia and McGill change that? Of course, there's no change, substantive change that is announced. The tone is okay. We'll see. Consultations before, but you can consult and still do whatever you want. So again, I will say, yay, that a premier of Quebec decides to communicate with over 10% of its population, something that François Legault hasn't done since 2022. But in terms of concrete results, I just feel that what she's doing, and we discussed this when she first talked about changing the tone when she went to the Montreal Board of Trade, I think it's really what she's trying to do here, because I don't think she's going after any type of writing that has a strong English-speaking community. I don't think this is about getting votes as much as sending a message to a lot of English-speaking business leaders that are seriously considering leaving Quebec or investing substantially outside Quebec or reducing their investments in Quebec. And I think what we're seeing by this gesture is that, economically speaking, also English-speaking investors outside of Quebec are currently looking at Quebec and saying, you know what, I'll pass. The red tape, this is too heavy, too many costs that are added to an already difficult economic environment. I think I'll go elsewhere. And I think that's really hurting right now. And because we're getting, again, we've talked about this before, you've interviewed him before, Andrew Lutfi, amongst others. But you're feeling it on the ground. I know business leaders here and from outside Quebec that are looking at Quebec and saying, you know what? No, I'm going to go somewhere else where it's easier and less expensive and less red tape, less problems. And I think that's what she's really trying to do.
Okay. I just want to go back to one thing, and I brought this up when I asked the question of our listeners today. I said, if you listen to the interview, and Elias actually asked her at one point, he brought up Nosh, right? Mm-hmm. And the idea that this, of course, is the OQLF's, newest issue. And her answer, she kind of laughed it off and said, and you brought up the Burgundy Lion and Go Habs Go. And she said, well, maybe they have to look at the way they... And I thought to myself, here's an opportunity to say, you know what? No, this is wrong. This is a mistake. She didn't do that with anything, David.
No.
She was on the middle ground for every single answer.
And maybe she's the premier of Quebec. She could say today, yesterday, 2 weeks ago, she could have said, guys, tone it down here. No, she didn't, because obviously she doesn't want to make headlines on CJAD that are going to be used against her in the Journal de Montréal. So this is lip service. But in terms of concrete evolution, concrete change, there's nothing there. But what she is trying to do for the Francophone media, because you could bet that all the French media, the French political media, were listening to the interview on CJAD this morning to look for pitfalls or to look for slip-ups. But what she is sending, and, it's kind of what, in politics you call this like counter-scheduling. And what she is sending in terms of message is, again, this more conciliatory brand of politics that, of course, has worked for Mark Carney. And she's trying to define herself as the candidate that is not looking for fights, is not looking for division, but is looking for solutions. But there's no solutions in the offing for the English-speaking community.
Someone asked me, David, and I'll move on, and I wasn't sure how to answer the question. Why do you think she did this review in English to begin with?
Again, two reasons. I think she is concerned. Remember, she has an economic background. I really think she is concerned about English-speaking Quebecers in the business community. She is concerned about the image of Quebec outside of Quebec, about attracting investments. I think this is an issue. A lot of business lobbies in Quebec and outside Quebec are saying, and I've been in those calls and those meetings over the last couple of years, the red tape and everything having to do with language, what happened with McGill and Concordia, the business environment is very depressed right now, and it is not attractive compared to other destinations. Two, I really think it's about also showing that she is a different kind of politician to her electorate, saying, see, I will establish a dialogue, I will talk to everybody and anybody, and I want to be a different kind of politician.
All right. You think there'll be more English interviews to follow, or do you think that was it?
I don't see many more in the future.
Okay.
No.
And would that include an English debate?
I don't think so. I don't see an English
okay.
debate. I hope to be wrong, obviously, but I don't see I don't see an English debate.
All right, let me move on to a couple of other things in provincial politics. I'm dying to hear what your opinion is of Paul St. Pierre Plamondon's allegation that somehow the Quebec Liberals are tied to organized crime. I mean, where the hell did this come from, and what kind of political points do you try to score with this?
First of all, Paul St. Pierre Plamondon, he's not trying to score any political points here. He's trying to be right. He's definitely he's developing more and more a reputation. And again, even in the French media, being a bit of an erratic politician. I mean, let's look at the last few weeks here. What has scored in terms of media attention, in terms of comments from Paul St. Pierre Plamondon? With no evidence at all, he says that he's probably spied on by the RCMP.
Right.
Nothing, no proof, nothing to substantiate that. No, because it happened in the 70s and 80s, it must be happening now. That's it. Two, this weird reaction to the high-speed train, from Quebec City to Montreal.
Give us our $40 billion.
Give us our $40 billion. And he says also, he throws out this $200 billion number in terms of what it's going to actually cost.
Right.
Again, where did you get that $200 billion number from? No source, nothing, no substantiation whatsoever. And even the people in Quebec City, which is a battleground area for the next election, everybody in Quebec City is saying, hey, hold on a second. You want to get out of something we want? Yes, there may be a problem in Mirabel, but let's sit down and figure something out with that farmland and the issue of expropriation. But you want to kill that project and saying you can simply opt out? No, you can't opt out. If you kill the leg between Quebec and Montreal, there's no project. That's it. We're done. And so you're not going to get $40 billion. So a misunderstanding of the project. And now this coming out and saying, again, completely unsubstantiated, that there are links between the Quebec Liberal Party and organized crime. I got to say, in terms of politics, it's all wrong. Because who is it helping? It's Fréchette. I've been scratching my head, Aaron, since Friday, trying to find what's the political calculus here. But Paul St. Pierre Plamondon has this knack, and this has been going on for years now, of just going off on tangents. But all he's showing more and more, he's no Nelson Mandela, he's no Mahatma Gandhi. he's definitely, because I'm referring to those two because he was quoting them, in January and February, and he was almost aligning himself as being, that type of person. And he is also, he's losing points. He is not scoring points. And who is he helping? He's helping Christine Fréchette. Yeah. In French, right now, in Francophone Quebec, this is not helping. And Charles Milliard, unfortunately, sending the cease and desist letter, from a lawyer yesterday, I don't think that's the best move for him, necessarily. He had to come out. He had to very aggressively denounce.
Well, what should he have done, David, if not for that?
Because here's the thing. I will get to what he should have done, but here's the thing. Now, in 2 days, all the journalists, because there's a 3-day delay for a retraction. Plus, I've already said I'm not going to retract myself. So, are you seriously saying now that you're going to sue the Parti Québécois? Obviously not. And so after that. So on Wednesday, we're going to have more media on this. And then what are you going to do? And you still have to deal with a new PAC report. You still have to deal with an Elections Quebec report that have yet to come out. And you've made this strange commitment last week or 2 weeks ago, rather, that you're going, Aaron, that you're going to come out before June 21st on a whole new language policy. So what are we going to be talking about at the Liberal Party of Quebec for the next 2 weeks? We're going to be talking about organized crime, and basically, indirectly, we're going to talk about the ethics and corruption issues with the Quebec Liberal Party, which doesn't help the brand. And then after that, we're going to talk again about language when the issue had basically been dealt with. So instead, why don't you come out and say, while Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon, who, by the way, close to 80% of Quebecers don't see as their best choice for premier, is while he's talking about killing the high-speed train for Quebec City and for Montreal, and talking about conspiracy theories with the RCMP and conspiracy theories with organized crime, we at the Quebec Liberal Party are talking about real issues that connect with Quebecers. Why? It would have been a prime opportunity yesterday to contrast the Liberals with the Parti Québécois and say, this is what we're concentrating on, and talk about more about his vision on affordability, his vision on healthcare, and his vision on housing, which, again, I know I repeat this all the time, but it's because these are far and out the three top major issues for Quebecers. And he has not established himself yet on this. So while saying, okay, I'm going to send a lawyer's letter, okay, big deal, yes, it is. It's a blunder. It's exacerbating his Pierre Poilievre problem. He has the same type of problem that Pierre Poilievre has in the rest of Canada. There's arrogance. He's not connecting with the electorate, and the numbers show it more and more and more. And he's losing support. Right now, Philippe J. Fournier on Quebec 125 has him as a minority government now. And it's just the division of the vote. But Christine Fréchette is talking about issues, Charles Milliard is not. So I think he could have gone more towards real issues and use this as a springboard instead of getting mired down. And finally, very quickly, Aaron, the theory, I think, here is that I think Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon wants Christine Fréchette to go way ahead of the Liberals because he feels that there's a part of the CAQ that is sovereignist and that may come back to him when push comes to shove. Okay. That's the way I could see a logical play here for attacking the Liberals the way he did.
So he's goading the Liberals into this. That's what he's managed to do.
Exactly, because what he's trying to do, he's trying to say, goading the Liberals into be mired into the Liberals, unfortunate past. And so the idea here is that even if they're at 16, 17% with Francophones, let's say 10% of that goes back to the CAQ.
Got it. David, I thank you. I appreciate it.
All right.
Have a good one. Week. You too.
Pride is like love. You feel it in your heart. iHeartRadio, Canada's #1 streaming app for radio and podcasts, including iHeart Pride Canada, your favorite hits, and must-have party bangers, plus personalized and curated playlists like Back in the Day Pride.
Come together, celebrate love.
Take Pride with you, anytime, anywhere. Just ask your smart speaker to play iHeart Pride Canada. Stream us on your phone or listen now at iHeartRadio.ca.